Here is a new episode of Building Battle, my dear friends. It's Noob from Minecraft with you. Today I'm going to make a building challenge of modern mountain house with my friends Bro, Hacker, and God. And while I will build it, I would like to tell you one breathtaking story about a rich and brave man, Dave, who decided to build the largest house on the mountain. Also, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel. Let's build. In the heart of the mountains stood a man with a dream as big as the sky. Dave, a wealthy and brave soul with a knack for humor, embarked on a whimsical adventure to build the most enormous house anyone had ever seen. But this wasn't just any house. It was a house filled with laughter, jokes, and endless joy. Join Dave and his team of quirky characters as they navigate through construction challenges and hilarious mishaps, all while creating a home that would become the talk of the town. Get ready for a side-splitting journey that will leave you in stitches and longing for more. Once upon a time, in the picturesque mountainside town of Giggleville, lived a man named Dave. Dave was not just any man, he was the wealthiest and most adventurous soul in the entire town. With a heart as big as his bank account and a humor that could light up the darkest of days, Dave was loved by all who knew him. One crisp morning, as Dave sipped his coffee and gazed out at the majestic mountains that surrounded his home, a grand idea popped into his head. "I shall build the most gigantic house on the mountain," he declared to no one in particular. His eyes sparkled with excitement as he envisioned a house so big that it could be seen from miles away, a house that would be the envy of all who laid eyes on it. With a chuckle and a twinkle in his eye, Dave set out to make his dream a reality. Little did he know that his journey would be filled with more laughter and hilarity than he could ever imagine. And so, the adventure of Dave's gigantic Giggle house began. With his mind set on building the largest house in Giggleville, Dave knew he needed a plan as grand as his vision. He called upon the best architects and designers in town. But there was one condition: the blueprint had to be filled with jokes and comedic elements. As Dave sat with the team of experts, they brainstormed ideas that would make the house not just big, but also a source of endless laughter. They sketched out rooms with quirky shapes, secret doors that led to unexpected places, and a maze of hallways that would confuse even the most seasoned visitors. But it wasn't just the physical design that had to be funny. Every aspect of the house had to bring joy to its inhabitants. From the color of the walls to the placement of the furniture, Dave insisted that everything should be designed with humor in mind. As the blueprint took shape, Dave couldn't help but giggle at the thought of what was to come. He knew that his house would not only be a marvel of engineering but also a place where laughter would echo through the halls for years to come. Armed with the hilarious blueprint in hand, Dave and his team set out to bring his dream to life. Construction began with great fanfare, but it wasn't long before the first hiccup occurred. As the workers started laying the foundation, they discovered that the ground was not as stable as they had hoped. Dave watched in amusement as the workers struggled to keep their balance, their antics causing him to burst into fits of laughter. But despite the initial setback, work continued at a steady pace. Each day brought new challenges and new opportunities for humor. From miscommunications between the workers to unexpected weather events, every moment seemed to be straight out of a comedy show. Yet through it all, Dave remained optimistic. He knew that the road to building the largest house on the mountain would be filled with laughter and joy, and he was determined to enjoy every moment of it. As the walls began to rise and the structure took shape, Dave's excitement grew. He could already imagine the laughter that would fill the halls of his gigantic Giggle house, and he couldn't wait for the day when his dream would finally become a reality. As the walls of the gigantic Giggle house reached for the sky, it was time to tackle the roof. Dave had envisioned a roof that would not only protect his house from the elements but also add to the overall humor of the structure. The roof, however, proved to be a challenge unlike any other. The design called for a series of domes and turrets, each with its own unique twist. As the builders worked to bring Dave's vision to life, they found themselves in increasingly comical situations. From slipping on banana peels to getting tangled in ropes, the builders seemed to attract mishaps like magnets. Yet through it all, they laughed and joked, knowing that they were part of something truly special. As the final touches were put in place, Dave climbed to the top of the roof to take in the view. From up high, he could see the entire town spread out before him, and he knew that his gigantic Giggle house would soon be the talk of the town. With a satisfied grin, Dave descended from the roof, ready to tackle the next phase of construction. Little did he know that even more laughter and adventure awaited him as his dream house neared completion. With the roof in place, it was time to turn to the walls of the gigantic Giggle house. Dave had insisted on using the sturdiest materials available, but he also wanted them to be a source of amusement. The builders worked tirelessly to construct walls that would withstand the test of time while also adding to the comedic nature of the house. They incorporated hidden doors and secret passages, ensuring that every corner of the house held a surprise. As the walls grew taller, so did the anticipation. Dave could hardly contain his excitement as he imagined the laughter that would fill his house once it was complete. He knew that he was creating more than just a home. He was creating a place where joy would reign supreme.
I'm happy to see you again, my friends. It is me, Pro from Minecraft. I'm happy to see you again. My friend Noob made very cool modern mountain house, but I will try to build it even more interesting. And while I do this, I will continue to tell you a mystical story about Herobrine. Also like this video and subscribe to the channel. Let's start building. As the final bricks were put in place, Dave stepped back to admire the work. The walls of his gigantic giggle house stood tall and proud, ready to welcome all who sought laughter and merriment. With a chuckle, Dave turned his attention to the next phase of construction. There was still much work to be done, but he knew that with each passing day, his dream was becoming a reality. With the walls of the gigantic giggle house complete, it was time to focus on the floors. Dave wanted each floor to be a masterpiece of comedy, with designs that would leave visitors in stitches. The first floor was dedicated to the main living areas, including the kitchen, dining room, and a grand hall for entertaining guests. Dave insisted on incorporating funny features into every aspect of the design, from the flooring material to the layout of the rooms. As the builders worked their magic, Dave couldn't help but laugh at the sight of his vision coming to life. He knew that his gigantic giggle house would be unlike anything the world had ever seen, and he couldn't wait to share it with everyone. The second floor was reserved for bedrooms and private spaces, each with its own unique comedic theme, from upside-down beds to doors that led to nowhere. Every detail was designed to bring a smile to the faces of those who entered. As the floors took shape, so did the reputation of the gigantic giggle house. People from all over the town came to marvel at the spectacle, eager to catch a glimpse of the house that had become a legend before it was even finished. With each passing day, Dave's excitement grew. He knew that his dream was almost within reach, and he couldn't wait to see the looks on people's faces when they stepped inside his gigantic giggle house. As the construction of the gigantic giggle house neared completion, one final element remained to be added: the tower. Dave had always envisioned a towering structure that would serve as the centerpiece of his house, and he had big plans for it. The tower was designed to be a beacon of humor, with each floor dedicated to a different comedic theme. From slapstick comedy on the first floor to witty wordplay on the top floor, the tower was a testament to Dave's love of laughter. As the builders worked to bring the tower to life, Dave oversaw every detail, ensuring that his vision was being realized. He couldn't wait to climb to the top and take in the view from the highest point in Giggleville. Finally, the tower was complete, and Dave wasted no time in ascending to the top. From there, he could see the entire town spread out before him, and he knew that his gigantic giggle house would soon be the talk of the town. With a satisfied smile, Dave descended from the tower, ready to unveil his masterpiece to the world. He knew that his dream had become a reality, and he couldn't wait to share it with everyone. The day had finally arrived. After months of hard work and endless laughter, Dave's gigantic giggle house was ready to be unveiled to the world. As the sun rose over the mountains, the townspeople gathered in front of the house, eager to see what Dave had created. With a flourish, Dave stepped forward to address the crowd. "Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I present to you Dave's grand giggle house," he exclaimed, gesturing towards the magnificent structure behind him. The crowd gasped in awe as they took in the sight before them. The house was a masterpiece of comedy, with every detail designed to bring joy and laughter. From the quirky architecture to the whimsical decorations, it was clear that this was no ordinary house. As the crowd explored the house, their laughter echoed through the halls. They marveled at the clever design elements and the sheer size of the house. Everywhere they looked, there was something to amuse and delight them. Dave watched with pride as the crowd enjoyed his creation. He knew that he had achieved his goal of building the largest house on the mountain. But more importantly, he had created a place where laughter would always reign supreme. As the day turned to night, the townspeople reluctantly began to make their way home. Their hearts full of joy and their faces sore from smiling, Dave stood in front of his house, basking in the glow of his accomplishment. As he looked up at the stars twinkling in the night sky, Dave knew that he had achieved something truly special. His gigantic giggle house would be a place of laughter and happiness for generations to come, a testament to the power of humor to bring people together. And as Dave turned to go inside, he couldn't help but let out a chuckle. After all, he had built the largest house on the mountain, and it was filled with enough jokes to last a lifetime. Years passed, and Dave's gigantic giggle house became a beloved landmark in Giggleville. People came from far and wide to experience its unique brand of humor, and the house became a symbol of joy and laughter. Dave himself became a local legend, known for his wit and his generosity. He often opened up his house to charity events and fundraisers, using its comedic charm to raise money for worthy causes. But more than anything else, Dave's gigantic giggle house was a place of joy for Dave and his friends. They spent countless hours sharing stories and laughter within its walls, creating memories that would last a lifetime. As the sun set over the mountains, casting a warm glow over the town, Dave sat on the porch of his house, a contented smile on his face. He knew that his legacy would live on in the laughter that echoed through the halls of his beloved, gigantic giggle house. And as the stars came out to twinkle in the night sky, Dave couldn't help but feel grateful for the laughter that had filled his life, for in the end, he knew that laughter was the true measure of a life well lived. And so, as the night grew darker and the laughter grew louder, Dave raised a toast to his gigantic giggle house, the house that laughter built, and the house that would forever be a beacon of joy in the heart of Giggleville. As the years went by, Dave began to feel the weight of time upon his shoulders. His hair turned silver, and lines etched themselves around his eyes. But his spirit remained as vibrant as ever, however. He knew that it was time to think about the future of his gigantic giggle house. One crisp autumn morning, Dave gathered the townspeople in front of his house. He stood before them, a twinkle in his eye and a smile on his face, as he announced his decision. "My dear friends," he began, "the time has come for me to pass on the legacy of the gigantic giggle house to the next generation. I have decided to turn it into a museum of comedy, a place where laughter will continue to reign supreme for years to come." The crowd erupted into applause, and Dave knew that he had made the right decision. With the help of the townspeople, he began the process of transforming his beloved house into a museum that would celebrate the history and art of comedy. As the museum took shape, Dave felt a sense of pride unlike any he had felt before. He knew that he was creating something that would far outlast him, something that would continue to bring joy to the town for generations to come. And when the museum finally opened its doors to the public, Dave stood at the entrance, a smile on his face and a tear in his eye. He knew that his gigantic giggle house would live on, and that was all he could ever ask for.
Hello friends, it's me, Hacker from Minecraft. My friend Pro have made some very interesting modern mountain house build, but we should show them how professional hackers build it. And while I'm building, I'll continue to tell you the breathtaking story. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Let's go! Years passed, and the gigantic Giggle House Museum became a beloved institution in Giggleville. People came from far and wide to learn about the history of comedy, and the museum's halls echoed with laughter and joy. Dave watched from his porch as the museum thrived, knowing that he had made the right decision. He spent his days regaling visitors with tales of his adventures in building the gigantic Giggle House, and his stories became the stuff of legend. But as the years went by, Dave's health began to decline. He knew that his time was growing short, but he was at peace with that. He had lived a full and happy life, and he knew that his legacy would live on in the laughter that filled the museum he had created. And so, as Dave sat on his porch one last time, surrounded by friends and loved ones, he knew that he had achieved something truly special. His gigantic Giggle House had become more than just a house. It had become a symbol of the enduring power of laughter, and it would continue to bring joy to the world for years to come. As the sun set over the mountains, casting a warm glow over the town, Dave closed his eyes one final time, a smile on his face. He knew that he had left behind a legacy that would never be forgotten, a legacy of laughter and love that would live on forever. With Dave's passing, the town of Giggleville mourned the loss of their beloved friend and the founder of the gigantic Giggle House Museum. But even as they grieved, they knew that Dave's legacy would live on in the museum and in the hearts of all who had been touched by his humor and kindness. In the wake of Dave's passing, a new generation took up the mantle of the gigantic Giggle House Museum. Young comedians and enthusiasts from all over the world came to study the art of comedy, inspired by Dave's vision and the legacy he had left behind. Under the guidance of Dave's closest friends and advisors, the museum continued to thrive, welcoming visitors with open arms and spreading joy and laughter to all who entered its doors. As the years went by, the museum grew and evolved, becoming a center for comedy education and innovation. New exhibits were added, showcasing the history of comedy from its earliest beginnings to the present day. And the museum's collection grew to include artifacts and memorabilia from some of the greatest comedians of all time. And through it all, Dave's spirit lived on in the museum he had created. His laughter echoed through its halls, inspiring a new generation of comedians to follow in his footsteps and continue his legacy of joy and humor. As the sun set over Giggleville, casting a warm glow over the museum, the town knew that Dave's gigantic Giggle House would continue to be a beacon of laughter and happiness for years to come. And though Dave was no longer with them, his legacy would live on forever in the laughter that filled the museum he had created. Generations passed, and the gigantic Giggle House Museum remained a beloved institution in Giggleville. People came from far and wide to experience its unique brand of humor, and the museum continued to inspire laughter and joy in all who visited. As the town grew and changed, the museum remained a constant, a testament to the enduring legacy of Dave and his dream of spreading laughter to the world. And though Dave was long gone, his spirit lived on in the museum he had created. His laughter echoed through its halls, a reminder of the joy and happiness he had brought to the world. And as the sun set over Giggleville, casting a warm glow over the museum, the town knew that Dave's legacy would live on forever, a beacon of laughter and happiness in a world that sorely needed it. With each passing year, the gigantic Giggle House Museum continued to grow and evolve. New exhibits were added, old ones were updated, and the museum remained a vibrant hub of comedy and laughter. But as the museum celebrated its centennial, it was time to think about the next chapter in its story. The board of directors, made up of some of the most influential figures in comedy, gathered to discuss the future of the museum. After much deliberation, they decided that it was time to expand. Plans were drawn up for a new wing that would house state-of-the-art exhibits and interactive displays designed to engage and entertain visitors of all ages. The construction of the new wing was a monumental undertaking, but the board was determined to see it through. They knew that the museum had become more than just a place to learn about comedy. It was a symbol of the enduring power of laughter to bring people together. And when the new wing finally opened its doors to the public, the response was overwhelming. Visitors marveled at the cutting-edge exhibits and interactive displays. And the museum once again became a must-see destination for comedy enthusiasts from around the world. As the sun set on the grand opening day, casting a warm glow over the museum, the board of directors knew that they had made the right decision. The gigantic Giggle House Museum was more than just a museum. It was a living testament to the power of laughter to unite and uplift. and it would continue to spread joy and happiness for generations to come. As the years passed, the gigantic Giggle House Museum continued to thrive. It became known as a center for comedy, education, and innovation, attracting some of the brightest minds in the industry to its halls. The museum's collection grew to include not only artifacts and memorabilia from the history of comedy, but also cutting-edge technology and interactive exhibits that brought the art of comedy to life in new and exciting ways. Visitors from around the world flocked to the museum, eager to experience its unique blend of humor and education. They laughed at the antics of comedians from years gone by, marveled at the creativity of today's top performers, and left with a newfound appreciation for the power of laughter to bring joy to the world. And as the sun set over the museum, casting a warm glow over its walls, the town of Giggleville knew that Dave's legacy would live on forever. The gigantic Giggle House Museum was more than just a museum. It was a testament to the enduring power of laughter, and it would continue to inspire and entertain for generations to come. As the gigantic Giggle House Museum approached its 150th anniversary, the town of Giggleville began to buzz with excitement. It was a time to celebrate not only the museum's longevity, but also the enduring legacy of Dave and his dream of spreading joy and laughter to the world. A grand celebration was planned, with events and activities that would showcase the museum's rich history and bright future. Comedians from around the world were invited to perform, and the town was abuzz with anticipation. But amidst all the excitement, there was a sense of reflection. The people of Giggleville looked back on the museum's long and storied history, remembering the laughter and joy that had filled its halls for generations. They thought of Dave, the man who had started it all, and how his vision had become a reality beyond anything he could have imagined. His legacy lived on in the museum, in the laughter that echoed through its halls, and in the hearts of all who had been touched by his dream. As the anniversary celebration approached, the town prepared to honor Dave and all that he had achieved. They knew that the gigantic Giggle House Museum was more than just a museum. It was a testament to the enduring power of laughter to bring people together, and it would continue to inspire and entertain for years to come. The 150th anniversary of the gigantic Giggle House Museum was a celebration unlike any other. The town of Giggleville came alive with laughter and joy as people from far and wide came to pay tribute to the museum and its founder, Dave. The festivities lasted for days, with comedians performing in the museum's grand halls, exhibits showcasing the history of comedy, and special events that brought together people of all ages to celebrate the power of laughter. As the anniversary celebration came to a close, the town of Giggleville looked to the future with hope and excitement. The gigantic Giggle House Museum had stood the test of time, and its legacy would continue to inspire and entertain for generations to come. And as the sun set over the museum, casting a warm glow over its walls, the people of Giggleville knew that Dave's dream had become a reality beyond anything he could have imagined. His legacy lived on in the museum he had created, a beacon of laughter and joy in a world that sorely needed it. As the gigantic Giggle House Museum looked towards the future, it became clear that its legacy would continue for generations to come. Plans were made for new exhibits and events that would keep the museum fresh and exciting, ensuring that it remained a vibrant hub of comedy and laughter. The museum's educational programs expanded, reaching out to schools and communities to teach the next generation about the history and art of comedy. Workshops and seminars were held, inspiring young comedians to hone their craft and carry on the tradition of making people laugh. New technologies were incorporated into the museum, allowing visitors to interact with exhibits in new and innovative ways. Virtual reality experiences and interactive displays brought the history of comedy to life, engaging audiences in ways that had never been possible before. And through it all, the spirit of Dave lived on in the museum he had created. His vision of spreading joy and laughter to the world continued to guide the museum's efforts, ensuring that it remained a place of inspiration and entertainment for all who visited. As the sun set on another day in Giggleville, casting a warm glow over the museum, the town knew that the gigantic Giggle House Museum would continue to be a beacon of laughter and joy for generations to come. And though Dave was no longer with them, his legacy would live on in the laughter that filled the museum he had created. As the years turned into decades and the decades into centuries, the gigantic Giggle House Museum continued to stand as a testament to the enduring power of laughter. It remained a beloved institution in Giggleville, welcoming visitors from all corners of the globe to experience its unique blend of humor and history. Generations of comedians passed through its halls, inspired by the legacy of Dave and the museum he had created. They honed their craft within its walls, learning from the masters of comedy who had come before them and adding their own voices to the rich tapestry of humor that the museum represented. And though the world around it changed, the museum remained a constant, A reminder of the timeless appeal of laughter, it continued to inspire and entertain, bringing joy to all who visited and ensuring that Dave's dream of spreading laughter to the world lived on. As the sun set over the museum, casting a warm glow over its walls, the people of Giggleville knew that they were part of something truly special. The gigantic Giggle House Museum was more than just a museum. It was a living testament to the enduring spirit of laughter, and it would continue to inspire and entertain for centuries to come. As the gigantic Giggle House Museum continued to thrive, its influence spread far beyond the borders of Giggleville. It became known as a world-renowned center for comedy, attracting visitors from every corner of the globe who were eager to experience its unique blend of humor and history. The museum's collection grew to include artifacts and memorabilia from some of the greatest comedians of all time, and its exhibits became known for their innovative and interactive nature. Visitors came not only to learn about the history of comedy, but also to experience it firsthand, often leaving with smiles on their faces and laughter in their hearts. The museum's educational programs expanded, reaching out to communities around the world to teach the next generation about the power of laughter. Workshops and seminars were held, inspiring young comedians to follow their dreams and share their unique voices with the world. And through it all, the spirit of Dave lived on in the museum he had created. His vision of spreading joy and laughter to the world had become a reality beyond anything he could have imagined, and the museum continued to be a living testament to his legacy. As the sun set on another day at the gigantic Giggle House Museum, casting a warm glow over its walls, the people of Giggleville knew that they were part of something truly special. The museum had become more than just a museum. It was a symbol of the enduring power of laughter to bring people together, and it would continue to inspire and entertain for generations to come. As the gigantic Giggle House Museum celebrated its bicentennial, the town of Giggleville looked back on its long and storied history with pride. The museum had become a beloved institution, known around the world for its dedication to the art of comedy and its commitment to spreading joy and laughter. Visitors from every corner of the globe came to experience the museum's unique blend of humor and history, often leaving with a newfound appreciation for the power of laughter to bring people together. The museum's educational programs had expanded to include outreach to communities in need, bringing the gift of laughter to those who needed it most. Workshops and seminars were held in schools and community centers, inspiring a new generation to embrace the art of comedy and carry on the museum's legacy. And as the sun set on the museum's bicentennial celebration, casting a warm glow over its walls, the people of Giggleville knew that they were part of something truly special. The gigantic Giggle House Museum had become more than just a museum. It was a symbol of the enduring power of laughter, and it would continue to inspire and entertain for centuries to come. As the gigantic Giggle House Museum looked ahead to its next century, there was a sense of excitement in the air. The museum had become a global icon, known for its dedication to the art of comedy and its commitment to spreading joy and laughter to all who visited. Plans were made for new exhibits and programs that would keep the museum fresh and engaging for future generations. The museum's board of directors, made up of some of the most influential figures in comedy, worked tirelessly to ensure that the museum continued to be a leader in its field. New technologies were incorporated into the museum, allowing visitors to interact with exhibits in ways that had never been possible before. Virtual reality experiences and interactive displays brought the history of comedy to life, engaging audiences in new and innovative ways.